Shai, you have talked about spending a large portion of your career finding that balance that's such a important part of being a player in the position that you're in, of going and getting your offense when you know that you can versus kind of supporting and elevating the rest of the team. Tell me about that aspect of your game tonight and kind of recognizing what your team needed from a scoring standpoint.
Yeah, I just try to stay in the moment. I try to be as aggressive and as intelligent as I can be in every moment. Make the right play and make the play that I'm comfortable making. And no matter the moment or the situation, I try not to waver from that. And it's been going well for me. It's something that I've had to learn. I guess you can say the hard way. But yeah, taking that approach has really helped me, for sure.
Did it feel like 54?
I did not. I felt like I could have had a lot more, and I know it's going to sound very spoiled, but I feel like I didn't really have that great of a night. Left a few on the table, but there's room to improve, and that's a good thing.
So you told Gallo after the game that you had a few more points tonight, but nothing special.
Yeah.
Why do you say that? Why is it nothing special?
I feel like I wasn't my best tonight, regardless of what the scoreboard says. I feel like I could have been better. Offensively, shot making a little bit, and then a couple of reads. But that comes with the game. You're not going to be perfect all the time. I feel like I've had better games this season, even though it didn't look like it on the score sheet. And that's just me chasing growth as opposed to an outcome. And that's what that comes from.
And so much of the conversation about you as a scorer to this point was, you're so efficient, you're prolific, you're consistent, but you hadn't had 50 like so many of the other great scorers. I guess, do you find that special at all, considering what it would take for you in your game to get 50? Do you dwell on that at all?
No, it's more of a mentality thing. And I think this season I've taken a leap in my mental, to kind of explain it. In the past, I've been hyper-focused on efficiency, and in moments I would not defer, but I would be conscious of it, and I think it would affect my decision-making. And this year, I think I've got over the hump of not worrying about efficiency and just playing and just being aggressive and seeing where I end up. And I think that's why I've had some 40 points after 3 quarters and 50 tonight. I'm just playing. Tonight wasn't the most efficient, but I was aggressive. I took shots I was comfortable shooting. They ain't going as much as I liked, but it's part of the game. You get better, and that's what I'm after.
Shai, Kaysen's in the 95th percentile as a cutter this season. How has it been like for you playing off of him, kind of seeing how he reads the floor?
Yeah, Kaysen does all the little things. He understands the game really well on both ends of the floor. Like you said, his cutting, it's his spacing, just his reads when he plays off the catch. And ultimately, guys like that make it easier for a guy like me, just because the defense has to worry about them in so many other ways, even when they don't have the ball. And obviously, I have the ball most. So him being a threat and the defense having to guard him makes life easier on me.
Going back to high school or any level, do you remember scoring 50 points in a game?
I think I might have scored 50 in PBA, Filipino Basketball League Association, back home when I was 15 maybe or 14, but that was the last time. Nothing close besides that. And the competition wasn't great.
As you were approaching 50, did you feel it coming, or you just sort of in the what should I say? Not in the moment, but just in that zone where you're just trying to put this team away, and you do it in a big way. Then all of a sudden, the crowd's cheering you on to see how much you can get. What's that feel like, especially doing it here at the Paycom Center?
Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely in the mode of we need to win this game, we need to bury this team, make plays down the stretch. But yeah, I'm aware. I know what's going on. Obviously, the crowd wouldn't let me forget. But it was special to do it in front of them. It's always fun to, I guess, get career highs. Always fun to knock things off your list. and then have the support of the whole city behind you is special, for sure.
And do the MVP chants play a big part of that?
They do feel good every time I get them. I don't ever take them for granted. I get them a lot in this building, obviously. The fans don't let me forget what they think of me, and I appreciate it. I really do. Hopefully we get it done this year, but I regardless appreciate the support from the fans and always will.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Myron.
Marketing got locked up with you a couple times. Is that something I can't remember the first time you played. It was a blowout. Did he guard you the first game, or is that just something that happened after you got going?
He guarded me the first game.
Did he?
Yep.
Okay.
I think they tried to put like size on me.
I forgot about
Shit.
Do you have another, Myron?
No.
Go ahead,
Go
Joel.
ahead.
Shay, you just were talking about how this season you stopped thinking about efficiency. I guess I just wonder, like, possession to possession, what that looked like for you before, how that maybe hindered you before, and possession for possession, what that's looked like this year in terms of throwing that out of your mind.
I think like in the past I would take a shot or make a play more so out of my comfortability than what the defense is giving me. And I think that kind of held me back in a way, just from being a weapon in every aspect of the game offensively. Like, let's say I'm being gapped, or like they're giving me space coming down the court, and like I shoot plenty of shots. I can shoot threes, but because I'm not having my best night efficiency-wise, I'll come down and shoot like a mid-range, something that I make at a higher clip. You know what I mean? Like just small things like that. Now, obviously, it might not seem huge, like it might not be glaring, but things like that go a long way. And just for your confidence and just for your aggressiveness throughout games, like just to not waver, not worry about the efficiency, and just worry about like taking what they give you and trusting your work. It's easy to say, but like in the moment, just make sure I get that done has been a vocal point for me.
I guess maybe a crazy question, but you're up to, at least coming into today, you were at 60% from two. The changes in your mindset, do you think that's almost led you to be more efficient? Like, what do you think that the aftermath of that has been?
Yeah, I think it's made me a better player. It's made me harder to guard. It's my coach, like Nate Mitchell. He always I kind of had a game, like, and I played back into, I guess, the not trusting my work, and he gave me a phrase, and it was like just play at the beat of your own drum and don't worry about anything else. And that really hit home for me, and because of that, when I'm out there, I shoot shots I want to shoot. I shoot shots I'm comfortable shooting, and I'm taking what the defense gives me, and I live with the results from there.
Last one for Shai.
I don't know that it was relevant necessarily to today, but these past 3 or so games, it feels like you're getting a little bolder with some of the passes you're trying to throw. Like you're making reads we maybe hadn't seen in the past. I guess how much have you tried to emphasize? You're throwing like live dribble skip passes. Like how much are you trying to emphasize stretching that part of your game?
That also comes with taking what they give me, and I think because of the mindset and because of the aggressiveness, it's made those reads and those passes easier to see. And I think that's just a trickle effect from the mentality that I guess you can kind of say implemented this year.
Alex, Mark called you a menace, and he was kind of referring to those back-to-back steals in the backcourt. Just wonder what's kind of going through you as you're making those plays, and are you surprised that they're available to you, or is that just manufactured through effort and toughness?
For starters, he probably meant that in multiple ways. But yeah, I just tried to bring some energy to the game. We were kind of just trading buckets here and there through the first quarter. We kind of recognized on the bench that we needed to amp up, some of the intensity and some of the pressure. So just picked up full court, just trying to change the energy of the game, got a couple steals, and it was good for us.
Dub, your second half was explosive, and it just seemed like you created ways to get to your spots, those shots that you hit night in and night out. what was different for you in the second half to be able to manufacture those opportunities?
Just being aggressive, not like trying to force anything, but just pick my spots. I thought we did a good job of like getting a couple stops, getting out, spacing the floor well, cutting. So I think when teams are worried about us cutting and doing other stuff, it just opens up different parts of the floor, and I was able to find those and do that.
Alex, you've guarded great scorers in this league, and for Shai, a lot of the conversation for him in recent years has just been about how prolific a scorer he is, how efficient, how consistent, and in turn how strange it is that he hadn't had 50 before today. I guess, how impressive is it for him to get to that point today, considering all the layers to what it would take for him to get 50?
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably have a couple more this year if we had closer games. He had 40 a couple times, and a couple of them were blowouts. So, like, he didn't even play in the fourth, or, like, he didn't really have to push it to get to that number. So, for him, I think it was just the flow of the game helped, get to that number tonight. But, like, his skill goes, without saying. Like, he can get to the rim, you cut him off, he's got a counter. You counter that, he's got another counter. You put your hands on him, it's going to be a foul. He can shoot threes. Like, he's just one of the great scorers that the game has seen. And for him, it's just a nightly basis of just making reads and being super aggressive. And we definitely feed off that. Like, his mantra and his energy get us going, and we play off that big time.
Just halfway through the season, how would you describe the kind of season he's put together?
MVP season. I mean, I watch a lot of basketball. Like, I watch, whether it's the condensed highlights or like real games. So like, I see the best players in the league, and I've seen how everybody plays, and his impact on both ends of the floor, the efficiency. Like, he's playing like the best player in the world.
Jalen, I just wondered, what was the most impressive part about Shai's 54 for you in your eyes?
I think just like a couple games back, somebody brought up like not having those games, so that was pretty impressive. I think just for him to like go out and actually get one right pretty much right after the comment was made, so kind of adding to what AC said, just like the amount of like, I think he sat out like 10 fourth quarter games or something like that, so to be able to, yeah.
Is that a real stat?
Yeah, that's right. I'm not tweaking, right? Yeah, it's 10. I'm on Twitter a little bit. So I think that was impressive. Just has been brought up a couple times, and then he's had games where he's had like 40 and 3/4 like right after the comment was made. So I think that was pretty cool.
That's a quarter of our games.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. I feel like that was underrated in regards to the 50, because the 50 is so loud. But I think just with all the speculation, I guess, in regards to could he do it, to do it consistently since that being said, I thought was pretty dope.
He says he doesn't feel it. Doesn't feel like a 54-point game. When you're out there, does it feel like he's doing that to you guys? Did you know he had over 50 points, I guess?
Yeah, somebody like on the court, it definitely feels like it. When as a player, when you're in that much of a flow, I've never had 50, so it's going to be very tough to like explain. But when you're in a flow like that, I don't think he's like thinking about the points.
Yeah, he's not counting.
Yeah, he's not counting. I think for me watching it, it definitely is like that because I'm in the possessions, I'm involved in them, and then sometimes I think he just scores. He'll have like a lot of like quieter buckets where he like get leak outs or like cuts, or sometimes it just looks so easy you don't even like register that he's scoring at the rate that he is.
Jalen, you've played with Kaysen for 2 years now. What have you seen from him as his ability to cut and kind of read the floor?
He just does a good job of playing off everybody. He's understanding his game more and more. We trust him to make plays too. But I think what's underrated about like cutting and like getting to your spots is like you have to know the game and understand who you're playing with. So that goes along with it too. He's getting smarter doing that. He's hitting shots, and obviously defensively, night in, night out, he's guarding the best guys, and he's doing a great job with it. So he's been great all year, all around.
Yeah, it does. Dub, Alex, whoever wants to answer can answer. Does Kaysen have the most bounce on this team? And then how do you think he would perform in the slam dunk competition? I know, Dub, you may think you have the most bounce.
I don't have the most bounce on the team.
Who does have
My
the most bounce
is
if not Kaysen?
Rookie year, it's over now. Don't really have it. Don't really jump the same way. You guys saw my dunk attempt today.
It was a good one. It was a
Yeah,
good
I
dunk.
tried. You saw his too. It's not us.
Shoot some free throws.
He might actually have the most bounce on the team.
He's
too.
got
Pretty
he's
close.
got the most collective. Like, he can go left foot, right foot, 2 foot. Like, I don't know if anybody on the team can go
No, don't look at me. It's over.
That's what I'm saying. I don't-
Yeah,
I'm-
I don't.
that
Jay will.
diverse. He
Does he have any creativity? Like, could he be in the dunk competition?
Oh, you know who actually might have like the best like creative that I've seen is probably Wiggs. Wiggs or BC. BC's
I've
underdog.
never seen Wiggs do anything.
Really? Oh, the dunk lines, he's pretty decent.
Start watching.
Yeah, Wiggs also comes out at like 6, so it's hard to like get him in the layup lines. It probably is like the most bounce is probably Queso. I've never seen Queso do anything else. But I mean, just collectively, he's dunked on a couple people. He's probably got the most bounce. I don't know if he has the best dunk package though.
Right before Shai got 50, it looked like you had the ball and quickly got it back to him. Were you trying to make sure he got 50?
Yeah, I knew. I feel like when you're at like I think you're at like 48 or 49 or something like that. I saw it, and it was also like reading the game too. Like the side that he was on wasn't loaded, so it was like you're giving probably the best scorer in the NBA. Not probably, you're giving the best scorer in the NBA a wide open kind of lane there. So I saw that my guy was already extended, so he couldn't help. So yeah, but yeah, I saw it.
And then, over the years, you guys have talked about putting that individual success a little bit on the back burner for the team, and that individual success will naturally come. And on a night like tonight, where Shai comes back into the fourth quarter, and he could have taken any shot he wanted and wouldn't have been criticized for it, and he's trying to look for you guys. Does it make it, as a teammate, does it make it that much special from having his first 50-point game when he was actively trying to get you guys going also?
Yeah, it's a good relationship, and that's one of the reasons why he's a good leader. It's one of those things that like instills confidence in everybody. I think just for me personally, like him throwing me the ball, and then it works the other way too. It's like you said, like me knowing that he's at 48, trying to get him to 50 and throwing the ball back to him. So it's like a push and pull thing. Like he trusts us, we obviously trust him, so he does a good job of keeping everybody involved.
This was a tough game. Tougher. I mean, you had a couple of times looked like you were about to go ahead and knock them out. They make an 8-0 run. Why'd you get the knockout punch in the fourth quarter? What went for you guys?
You started it. Couple of stops, couple of good buckets in a row. That was the thing. Kaysen, I think Coach said in the post game, we were up 3, got offensive rebound.
Oh, the 3, yeah.
Case hit a big 3 to get it to 6 with like 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then from there, we just got a bunch of stops. You know, I think I got a steal. Shai had a good block. We had a couple of possessions where guys played really good individual defense, and then, you know, coming down the stretch, you got him, you got Shai. Like, those guys are going to find ways to score.
Anything else?
Just
Go ahead.
okay. Dub, what went into the steps for you to get cleared to play today, and how's the hip feeling after this game?
It was I think we had a very good strategy going into like me being able to like obviously I was hurt, and it was like one of those things where it was like I can play hurt and risk messing up like something else with my hip, or just kind of get like those 4 days and sit out a game. I didn't really want to do that, but it definitely worked out well because I feel fine now. And just I had a workout yesterday where I went live and like tested some stuff out, and I felt good. And then obviously when you have your first like live workout after a couple of days off, try and see if you're sore or not, and I wasn't, and I was pretty straight today.
Alex, you mentioned the block Shai had at the rim late in the game, and it's not the first time he's done that this season. It feels like down the stretch. Just the level of defender you are, how many one-on-one defenders this team has. Like, what does that say to you? What does that mean to see a guy that level of scorer to care that much about that end?
Yeah, I mean, that's just, like, when we talk about best player on the planet, like, he impacts the game in so many ways, and it gets overlooked because he can score 50, you know, because he can get 45. Excuse me, but, like, he is active defensively. Like, he had another possession where he didn't come up with a block, but he ended up guarding Collier for, like, 10 seconds, made him turn 2 or 3 times. He drove in, deflected it away. And like that possession's, it's not very loud, but like me as a defensive guy and a team guy, like that's noticeable. Like the best player in the world for us is guarding the ball for 10 seconds with 4 minutes to go in the game. Like he's not hiding in the corner trying to like take a play off to go score next. Like he's a true competitor when it comes to that side of the ball. And just the things that he does. Like he blocked a three in the corner, I think. And I don't know who shot it, but like I turned to the bench and asked him, I was like, did he block that? Like I didn't know if the guy airballed it or not. Like just right there, that's 2 blocks and a steal in 4 minutes of game, like important game time. Like he's a phenomenal basketball player, and like that kind of stuff on the defensive end stands out to me more than 50, as hard as that is to imagine.
Mark, you guys went small for large chunks of the second half, including to close the game. I know it's nothing new, and it's something that you guys have really honed as a muscle, but just how valuable did you feel like that was in the matchup down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, we've done it before, but you're always trying to figure out the limit of it. And Kessler, Markkanen, Collins on the court together is big. And so I thought we did a great job, especially down the stretch on the glass, of scrapping for some of those rebounds. Dub had a big one, Lou had a big one, Kaysen was in the mix, and did a great job kind of offsetting their size with pressure and speed, especially in the fourth quarter.
Obviously, Shai, a historic night for him personally. Still in the fourth quarter, he's making swing passes and trying to create. How'd you find sort of his balance of understanding what he needed to do for the team tonight, scoring wise, with also playing a good floor game?
Yeah, I thought his floor game was pretty good. I thought it shows confidence when you make the right play, even in the face of being able to chase 50 or whatever individual stuff is there for the taking. And so I thought he showed good poise and confidence on a night where he obviously was close to that number. And I didn't think his offense tonight felt much different from some other nights. He's had close to 40 in 3 quarters and then didn't play the fourth in some of those games. It didn't feel a lot different than that. So it was another great scoring performance, but it wasn't uncommon.
If people look at the record, they say, man, it's kind of an easy night, but you called timeout a minute 13 into the game, kind of indicative of how it's going to be a tough night for you, you think?
Yeah, it wasn't an easy night. Obviously, we really had to slog through that game. We had some things not go our way, made some mistakes. They just didn't go away on some plays. I thought we could have opened the game up a little bit at the beginning of the fourth, and they put a run on us and got it to 1 or tied the game. But that's, we have to work through that stuff. It's good for us to have to, play bad and get back on track, or have some not get traction in the game and have to try to figure out different ways to find a win. I thought we manufactured the win tonight. I thought the play of the night was the offensive rebound by Dort that ended in the Kaysen 3. That was, I think, a 3-point game. It made it 6, and I don't think it got closer after that. So having to make those plays and having game pressure was a good experience for us, and I thought we rose to that, especially down the stretch.
Is that just kind of one of those closing the game out like that because you did go on a run? If you just look at the final box score, you say, hey, they had a pretty easy night, but you really made big plays down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, we just had to keep banging away, and waiting to bust through, But it took us a long time to bust through. They played really good. I thought Utah, they were competitive and stress tested us, and I thought we obviously could have played better, but the game wasn't easy. And you got to be able to, like I said, manufacture a win when the game's not easy, and I thought we did that, especially down the stretch.
Mark, Shai enters the fourth with 41. He finishes with 54. He enters the game in the fourth, I think, about 7 minutes or so. He does a lot of that remaining damage with 3-4 minutes left. He's deferring to Dub early in those minutes. At least it felt like. Just how impressive is that he reached 54? Considering those early possessions, and I guess how much of that has been Shai's season where he's eating, but he's also putting his teammates in.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say he was deferring, not to pick at the words, but I didn't think he was deferring. He was the screener on a lot of those plays, which allows him to use his gravity and gets Dub ahead of steam. It involves him in the actions a different way, and we're going to need all that. You can't, in a team sport like this, you can't just like pump fastballs every single pitch. You've got to have other stuff. He understands that, and so he's able to see the big picture. And like I said, it shows confidence in the team. That he's doing that stuff, and it also shows confidence in himself that he doesn't feel like he has to just go grab, the cookie out of the cookie jar the minute he sees that it's open. So I thought he did a good job of blending down the stretch, but he's done a great job of that all season.
And a lot of the conversation, especially recently this year, last year, has been, despite how great of a scorer he is, that he never reached 50 in a league full of 50 pieces. Just how impressive has this body of work been that he's put together, and I guess what does it say about him now that he's reaching this and people find it that impressive?
I don't see him any differently than I did to start the night. I think what makes him special is, first of all, his character as a person, competitor, leader. That's what makes him really special to me. And then his basketball, how efficient he is what makes him special and consistent. And he's efficient and consistent every night, not just on the night that he gets a big number in the counting stats. And so, it's obviously a great accomplishment, in his career, but, I don't see him any differently than I did before the game.
Over the years, you guys have talked about putting the individual success somewhat on the back burner for the team success, and the individual success will come naturally. And on a night like tonight where Shai is not forcing shots and he's as efficient as he is and has his first 50-point game, does it make, like for a coach, does it make it that much special that he's still doing it the right way, even though he could have came into the fourth and took any shot he wanted?
Yeah, but we have a culture of that, like he does that and deserves a lot of credit for that, because obviously, like I said, the cookie jar is open. He can stick his hand in there, if he wants to. But we have a team full of guys that do that. I mean, there's guys that are, scraping for rebounds, and Caruso, I thought, gave us a huge lift in the second quarter. He gave us a huge lift down the stretch with the steals. He was a total disruptor tonight. I thought Kasem was a dog tonight. I thought Lou, did not have like we talked about, an easy game, but he made the play of the night with the offensive rebound and extra pass. So we've got an environment full of guys that put the team first, and that's why the whole is better than the sum of the parts, at least to this point. And Shai is not exempt from that. He's included in that, but it is not exclusive to him.
On those case and dunks, we see a lot of coaches like react in some way. You just like keep that stoic demeanor. Is that something like you internally tell yourself like not to react or anything, or is it just how you are?
I think you should spend more time watching the dunk and less time watching me.
Coach, when Shai's going off like that, do you see the 50-point performance coming? Do you look at the scoreboard? Are you taking it play by play? I mean, all of a sudden it turned into not about the game essentially, but more like how much can he get after you get that double-digit lead?
Yeah, I mean, not really. I mean, it didn't, like I said, it didn't feel much different. Basketball is an efficiency game, and the NBA's figured that out. It's what do you do with your possessions? It's not just about the counting stats. And so he's been an efficient scorer and efficient player on two ends of the floor for a long, long time, and has been, ridiculously consistent with that for years now. So tonight, like I said, he got the number tonight, but it didn't feel any different. In fact, I didn't even think he played great early. I thought he got it going later, but I didn't think this was like his best game of the season. So that's just my opinion.
Well, in terms of the second chance opportunities, like you said, like the offensive rebounding, like how like what does that say about the team? For him to hit one of those big shots off an offensive rebound, and just again, just the way the Thunder just played down the stretch in terms of executing. Yeah,
I thought, like I said to Myron's question, I thought we manufactured the win, and so there's going to be nights where you're in like a great rhythm. And things are clicking. The Brooklyn game was like that. I thought we just had a great team rhythm in that game. And then there's other nights when you don't, for whatever reason. Some of it's the opponent. They deserve credit. They played well tonight. And you have to kind of slog through it and endure parts of the game and not get knocked out and keep yourself in it and let the game turn. And when the wind gets back, at your back. And I thought we did that tonight. It took us a long time to get our footing in the game. And then when we did, we were able to slam the door on the game. But it wasn't an easy one.
Going back to Kaysen, he's in the 94th percentile as a cutter. What have you seen from him just his whole career, reading and reacting to the defense?
He's done a great job of embracing the system. And early on, it was a pretty narrow role offensively. It was dunker work, it was rolling, it was cutting, and now he's starting to find a little bit more with the ball in his hands. And I think it's just a great lesson that, you can be a really good system player and have that be your starting point. I mean, he played 20-something minutes a game last year for us as a rookie on a good team. And it hasn't prevented him from continuing to grow, and he's going to continue to grow because he's a good player and he's out there on the court. He's getting all these experiences, but he's been a great example of somebody that's built a very strong foundation to his game that he can then layer on top of. And I think developmentally, that's how you draw it up. That's best case scenario because it creates a very high floor for the player, and he's done an incredible job of that.
You mentioned Caruso. He had the steals. I mean, a couple of inbounds in a row. Seemed like they came in times that allowed you to steal some momentum. You're trying to generate some things with his steals. I think he had 4 for the game.
Yeah, he's just a menace. He's in the middle of everything. He was huge there in that stretch. I mean, he had one stretch where they didn't cross half court. It was just because of him. He's just back there messing the game up for everybody except for us. And so, he does that, but he does it intelligently. He does it he's surgical about it. He's smart about where he takes his risks. And, he was in the middle of everything. He was in the middle of a fight tonight. And I thought gave us, like I said, a huge lift in the second, and I thought he gave us a huge lift down the stretch.